Hi everyone. Welcome to Insight Check. We look a little bit different this week as we are doing a entirely virtual episode. But we have everyone here to have a chat about episode 4, Monsters. I'm of course Brendan. I was playing Liara in the episode, but I have with me a full cast. I want to start actually with someone that you didn't see on the episode. Jason, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So hi, I'm Jason Lee. I DM and run lots of systems, and I currently write for D&D and Call of Cthulhu, and I am the author for the adventure that this lovely crew played, Monsters. Yeah.
Awesome. And the DM in question, Ari is with us. Ari, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hey everyone, I'm Ari. I'm the DM. I'm very thankful to Jason for writing the module and letting me run it. I also play Edgy Von Goth in a couple of the other modules.
Awesome. And we have Donna with us.
Hi, Donna here. I play Zina and her glitter bomb Puff. We
And
finally got to go Puff.
yes, it was perfect. And Siobhan.
I'm Siobhan. I play Ven and her trusty companion Hootie.
Fantastic. And last but not least, Vic.
Hi, I am Vic, and I played Cav.
Awesome. Yeah, like, obviously, this will make less sense if you didn't see the episode. But still, thanks for hanging out with us if you are here. We're going to chat a little bit about everything that happened. There's a bunch of questions that people have submitted during the week. Some of them are silly, some of them are not so silly. But we're going to chat for the next hour or so. So thank you all for joining us. My first question is actually to get us started is something that I personally was curious about. For Jason, what was it like watching people play and run your module on a stream? Like, had you had that happen before? And what did you feel about Ari's interpretation of the module? Because I know he changed a few things.
It is my first time watching someone play one of the scenarios and or modules that I wrote, and it is an experience. There's lots of points where I felt like, oh, did I write that? And then I thought about it. Oh yeah, I did understand what Ari was doing, and he got most of the gist of the adventure, which was good. I think he had to rush a little bit because the players, the characters were stuck in town, fluffing around quite a bit, and
I
yeah.
would never, I would
How
never
dare!
Nothing
fluff around.
around.
I think some people were probably panicking that we
J'accuse.
spent so much time in town. I know that the way that you run it, like it's not, we don't spend a long time in town, but
Yeah,
I
it's like,
but
where's
we
that
kind of
sense of
planned to
urgency?
pace it a little bit differently for the
Yeah.
stream. It was okay. It was all under control.
But it was good. It was good. It's actually kind of nice as well to experience it, but kind of like a different interpretation. So it's like new to me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think having so it's like full transparency, like I helped to play test one of the early versions of it. Like it changed a lot over time before it got published, but so I had like some experience with the kind of structure of the module and so forth. Also I kind of like edited and produced to some degree like the whole series. So I kind of know roughly the story of the whole thing. That wouldn't have been weird in even if I hadn't played it, I kind of, vaguely know the story of each module, but there's really no way to avoid it, unfortunately. But I know that Ari changed a few things like making the Guardians embrace cider and making a bunch of different things. Like, was there anything that I think also that he introduced a lot of like Neverwinter Nights references and lore and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff that I felt like it was is not technically like there on the page in your interpretation of it, but I feel like probably tickled you in terms of the kind of stuff that you tried to include early on in early versions of the module that had to get cut out.
Yeah, I think I wrote enough that it could run for about 4 hours. So
Yeah.
maybe in the future I can release a director's cut version of the adventure,
Yeah.
But yeah, the stuff that Ari added in, I was so tempted to like go back and revise the manuscript just to add it in. It's like, oh, that was a good idea. And then I was like, oh, no, this is a lot too much work. So yeah, but yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, before we kind of open up some questions to the table, people wanted to know, and by people I mean specifically submitted by Kenku Fancier 69. Canonically, is Arrow the unnamed father of Delilah's child?
I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to keep so I can continue writing the true events of yeah.
Well,
Well,
Brendan, do you think
I
that
was gonna
Arrow would
say.
have got up to such things?
honestly, it never occurred to me. So, like, so to make it clear to people who aren't aware, Arrow is a character that I played a long time ago and retired, and became an NPC as part of this kind of adventure series. So, Arrow is originally my character, and a lot of people picked him up as a quest giver for this chain and it never occurred to me that he was the father, but it is a little interesting as a plot point. Actually, in the original version of the module, there's twins. So there was potentially two children, but
One
I mean-
human, one Kenku.
yeah, maybe. I don't know if that was ever the intention. I think it's an interesting interpretation. I actually was thinking about it today because I was like, I don't know that Arrow, if he was the father, would not have gone to find what
Yeah, he
happened
would have
to the
gone
kids
himself, right? Like, surely.
there would have had to have been a really bad situation where it was agreed you're not to come and see me kind of thing. For him to be I'm going to send some adventurers instead. I think it's possible. I don't think that there's canonically any reason that apart from the obvious discussion that we're going to get into about the physiology of Kenku and humans and so forth. I don't know actually if Delilah is canonically a human. I can't remember. I think she's not. Is she a human? Or is she a halfling?
Not anymore.
I wrote this adventure at the beginning of the year, so I need to check my notes. I think from memory I written her as a human.
Okay. I mean, to put that aside, that because it is what it is. Yeah, I think that there would have to have been some real falling out, some real you don't have visitation rights for that to have happened. But Jay did submit a question. Who do you think is the father of Delilah's baby? Does everyone think it's Arrow, or is there other theories?
I just figured it was some other guy that we don't get to meet because he's not
Yeah.
particularly important.
Yeah. I figure that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the adventure does say that Delilah is human, so I double checked that. All right, good. So I'm
I
wrestling in
mean,
my head.
Arrow's the father now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think
Like,
I think
yeah.
that we've made that. Yeah, we've introduced that. as the-
And Arrow's now raising the kid, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Arrow
He
is
does
the
actually
dad.
at the end of the
That's what I-
module say, "I will raise it as though it's one of my own." So
yeah,
He's
that
the dad
does.
now.
Technically twins.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I just thought for just as someone with two kids, it takes about 2 hours to leave the house. I don't think I could flee into the woods the middle of the night with two twins. I just thought, people. One of the other times I ran it, people started picking up babies and moving them around and trying, and I was like, this is just too hard. I'll just make it work.
Fair. All right. Well, Courtney wanted to know. This is a little bit more of an open and a more serious question than that. How do you adapt to the luck of the dice in game? Do failed rolls impact your enjoyment of playing? Is there is there a time crunch?
Sorry, is
This
that
feels-
directed me?
This feels targeted. This feels
Does feel
targeted,
targeted.
but he mentioned especially if there's a time crunch, if I think that that probably isn't something that we all think about necessarily as players, but we are aware on stream that we have a limited time frame, and it doesn't help when you miss a bunch. But I mean, look, let's open up to the table. How do you kind of what's your relationship with the dice?
Well, I love the dice. I love the dice with all my heart. And the dice hate me so much. They hate me so much.
It's pure. It's not just you though.
No, it's not. It's both of us. It's both of us.
It's a family thing.
It is a family issue.
It's specifically because I remember you running a game at one point for our parents, and they both didn't roll very well either.
Nope.
So
Nope.
specifically a family thing.
Yep. Although I think I need to DM more often because I roll so
Yeah.
poorly. Players love it.
Yeah,
Truly
that's
love
great
it.
for
Like my
for
parents,
low level
their
DM.
first game ever, and they were like, "This is great. We get to do so much stuff." I'm like, "You shouldn't."
What about the rest of you? Donna, Ari, how do you feel about Ari? I know had some spectacularly bad dice luck during the game as well. How do you feel about that?
I only find it frustrating. So mostly low dice rolls are just funny. They make better story.
Yeah.
Like messing up is just funny. It is just annoying when you're rolling like a history check or an investigation check, and the story is written in a way that you actually kind of need that information, or that if you don't get it or if you don't get enough of it, then everybody's going to be confused. But that's actually bad. I'm not saying that Jason did this at all. This is like a general comment, but that's bad writing if there's like stuff you're relying on.
You don't want to
and
lock
it
something
gets
you
under a
need
10.
behind a dice
Yeah,
roll.
I recall Ari was complaining about one of the DC 10 ones. There was specifically that because I don't want players to
Yeah.
miss information, so it's that low.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh,
otherwise
yeah?
low dice rolls are just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, growth comes from failure, right?
Yeah.
So like you can create a better story. It's frustrating when you don't roll well any roll of a game. That's frustrating. But having the occasional like nat one and really bad roll, even just like a bad run of rolls, like good story comes out of that. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
like
always roll low, you should play a game that rolling low is good, like
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
no,
Call of
no, no,
Cthulhu.
No,
no. You are misinterpreting this, Jason.
I
We
don't.
do
okay.
not roll low. We
We roll
roll bad.
Okay.
Call of
I have played
Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu. My
Roll real
first
high.
ever roll was a 99,
All
and it did not improve much from there.
Yeah, there are some spectacular stories about the Hanlon dice curse. I think we actually talked about it at the table before the episode on Tuesday about the specifically the Tales from the Loop example from
Rolling
Von.
24 or 30 dice and not
Yeah.
rolling 1 6 at all on them, which is all you need for success in that system.
Just one.
Right.
Just one
Not
six.
one.
I'm a statistical anomaly.
Yeah. I mean, look, well, how do you, are there times when that actually kind of, gets to you does it actually upset you, or is it at this point, you've just accepted that comes with it?
I am a big believer in like, obviously it's like yes and, but I'm a big believer in no but.
But
It's like, so you failed this, so no, but maybe this happens instead, or maybe this can happen instead.
Yeah.
So like it does get annoying, but like you can work around it. It's fine. And it is very entertaining sometimes.
yeah, I think for me, like missing an attack, sure, fine. It's frustrating, but whatever. The ones that annoy me, I usually play high charisma characters because I like to talk to NPCs and stuff like that. But when I don't, and I have like a 0 to persuasion or a +1 or whatever, and then I go on and I talk to this, and then I roll a 3, and I'm like, well, damn, what am I? I guess I just won't talk to anyone then, will I?
Well, you won't get any information from them.
Yeah.
You can still talk at them as much as you like.
Oh, and I will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard, I
Yeah.
think, when the dice don't kind of match up with what you feel is like the likely kind of, the thing that your character is good at. They're like, this is the one thing that they're really kind of, based around, and then it doesn't work out for you. I think that can be.
You just didn't read the right book. Like
Yeah.
I had a +7 to investigation probably, and you get a 3. It's like, I didn't read that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also like, because speaking D&D in general, but like tabletop RPGs, so much of it is role play. So if you make an amazing like performance with your friends or whoever you're playing with, and then you roll a dice and you get a nat 1, that feels like shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's an order of operations thing. It's like, well, do you roll the dice first and then adjust how you're asking the question, acting to what you got as the roll, or do you just I don't know, descend into chaos or something.
Yeah. So for me, usually like for situations like this as a DM, I usually give a bonus or equivalent to the system to the person who roleplays really well. If they feel really bad, I just move the clues around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do
Uh,
that too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to
'cause,
say you need to
yeah.
make it to A, B, C, but
Yeah.
sometimes you might
Yeah.
have to go via Z to get to
Yeah.
those. You're still going to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think that, you know, the part of that question that is tricky, I think, especially for us, is the you know, if you do fail over and over again and you know that you have 3 hours to, you know, to try and finish on time, you know, it does become, you know, more of a challenge for the DM to keep moving that that goalpost to somewhere else, because it's like, "Oh, I really needed this to wrap up." Like, I think especially, you know, in the final kind of scene, where you know, we were trying to convince Delilah, like, you know, "Oh, it's okay, you don't have to fight," kind of thing, and then like it would just be so poetic in that moment to be like, "Oh, I need a success here," or
So
whatever, and then it
I
didn't
did
quite
that
land.
because I
Yeah.
had a +11 and I
Yeah.
wanted to do it, but I had a
Yeah.
+11. I was like, come on, I've got a +11. It's going to be fine. Oh my God. No,
Yeah.
it's
You
not fine.
missed by 1.
I did miss
Yeah.
my one.
Yeah, you can kind of like, the DM can kind of tip the hand. It can give advantage. They can give, you know, some kind of, you know, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like sometimes it's still, you know, and he's just like, "Oh, for God's sake, I've got 2 minutes left to wrap this up, and I'm just trying to push it across the line." But you know, look, it is what it is. It's not scripted. That it happens. That's
Mhm.
you know,
And it's not
sometimes
serious. It's
no.
fun.
Yeah.
It is, but it's serious that we have to be out of the studio at
I
10
was gonna say,
o'clock.
that is serious.
Yeah. The game is fun. Like, the point is not
Yeah.
to like
Yes.
walk out going, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I did so bad."
No,
because the
no,
dice
no.
did bad.
But you want there
Yeah.
to be a narratively, you know,
Satisfying.
satisfying ending, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this would be a great way for this to end," and then it's just like, "Oh shit! All right, what are we gonna do now to get out of here in the next 30 minutes before they lock the doors on us?"
Yeah,
All
the
right.
building literally locks at 10:30. We're stuck in there.
Yeah,
Playing
that's it.
D&D all night.
Oh
Yeah.
The
no.
worst thing that
Oh
could happen.
no.
No, look, yeah, it could be worse, but yeah, look, like, thankfully we've done you know, a bunch of episodes so far, and we haven't really kind of ever run like totally over, and hopefully we won't. It's harder to, you know, it's yeah, it's been a challenge, I think, for us to, you know, ensure that we make sure that we can kind of, you know, complete you know, things in a narrative way, with the understanding that the dice sometimes don't let us do that
Yeah,
in a way that we wanted to.
I when I DM'd 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, I'd like structured that last bit so that we could have a really good fight. Like, and there was enough time, and then it was like, go, and I'm like, okay, well, we're done.
Yeah.
We were like 30 minutes
Yeah.
early.
That's fine. That's
We're
fine.
done. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, look, let's talk about that. Actually, I think that's a good thing to mention. Like, there has been a little bit of a theme of us kind of whipping bosses, you know, pretty quickly, and final battles and things like that. I think that part of that is, you know, somewhat the difficult kind of scaling of AL, but like, I think that, you know, some people have kind of suggested like, "Oh, you know, give monsters more hit points," and all that kind of stuff. But I think that plays back into the challenge of the time slot too, because, you know, if you give every monster double the hit points, the fight takes
yeah.
twice as long, which might be fine if we're finishing 30 minutes early, but it might not be fine if we're
Yeah.
running right to, you know, 10 minutes before 10 when we're wanting to pack up and stuff. It's a you know, it's an art form, I think, you know, realistically, to make sure that, you know, it's a challenge which, you know, you want, but also not one that takes 4 hours to complete.
I think it's also like with AL in general, because like if you're playing a different format, you're probably going to have majority of characters at the same level, whereas you come into an AL game and you could be playing a tier 2 and you've got a level 5 and a level 10. But depending on who's in the game, like if you've got a completely maxed out like level 10, level 9, level 10 party,
Mm.
they might finish a module in 2 hours, but it
Yeah.
might take, if you've got a group of level 5s and 6s, it could take them 3 plus.
Yeah.
It really depends on the party makeup as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, at least if it goes longer, it means that everyone gets to try out their stuff, try different things, hit the bad
That's
guy,
true.
Have an actual turn.
have a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, look, I think Liara in that battle did pretty well, just kind of cleaning up all of the extra
Well,
monsters
the
and
only
stuff.
reason that I was like quite comfortable going like, can I spend my turn just trying to convince them
Yeah.
is because Liara was doing so much damage. And I was like,
Crit
it's fine.
City.
She's got it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always nice to like. I think I had like something like 4 or maybe 5 crits in that
Yeah,
final
5
Yeah, it
game.
was ridiculous.
Which was nuts, but at the same time was like it was a relief for me too, because every now and then I would look over the corner of my eye and see like
The clock.
15 minutes left, and I'd be like, I gotta kill 4 more guys. I'm gonna try and kill as many guys on my turn. I'm just blowing spell slots to, just like trying as much as possible to do the max damage. And I realized later I could have done more because I didn't want to like during my turn quickly try and like skim to like great weapon fighting and check the thing, but I was in my head for some reason I thought that the re-rolling 1s and 2s was from the feet, not from the
No,
great
it's
weapon
the fighting style.
Yeah,
I was that too.
and I was 50-50 on it in the moment. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I won't bog down the time slot anymore. But I could have re-rolled some of those and done a little bit more damage.
It's fine. You did plenty.
Yeah, you're great.
I don't know if
There
anyone
were
added
other
it up,
people
but
to help.
yeah, I didn't want to try and tally it up because even in the moment when I was rolling it, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I just looked down at the dice and was like, I forgot how numbers work, and I go,
Oh, I never know. I look down at the dice and just stare at them for a while, and then I'm like, 15, I think.
Yeah, there's like 3 seconds where it's like, what?
I can't read a handout, but I can add
basic-
up. I can add up
Oh.
6s really fast.
That's why I love VTTs, because they do all the maths
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
so much more
The-
convenient.
I
when
have
don't
learned
to
to
do it.
like make groups of 10 out of numbers. That does make it a bit
Yeah.
easier. But when they don't, then you have to remember what numbers make up 10. And sometimes,
I'm
There's
slightly
stuff
more
that's
paranoid.
lodged in my head. That one's easy.
I'm slightly more paranoid about it too because it's just the stage fright thing of doing maths on camera.
oh,
But-
this is in camera in my life, just all the time.
Yeah, fair. But like also the camera has like a view of my dice. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, people are gonna judge me if I add this up wrong. We're like 12, I think. Oh no, wait, it's 14. Oh shit.
Oh, if people want to like do the close up on my dice, they can judge me all they want. I
Yeah.
probably got it wrong.
If you ever see my dice and what the number that I say is wrong, I'm not fudging it. I'm just panicking and
Mhm.
making it and guessing the wrong number. All right. So to bring it back to the module a little bit, there was a couple of people who submitted questions. Tessa wanted to know, with this particular outcome, what do you think becomes of Delilah? And Alec wanted to know if our characters are intending to visit the child or to try and find Delilah.
Yeah, no, Xena doesn't like people that much.
She's just done. She's not going to ever see them again.
Oh, if she runs into them, she'll be polite, but she's not going to go looking for a child. She's not going to be like, nostalgic about like seeing it when it's 6. It's not it. This is what we're allowed to do when we play characters. We're allowed to say, this is what my character does. I would go see a child when they were 6. Xena won't.
No, that's fair. What about Cav?
I think that she would like to think that she would, but they also are kind of on the run and probably don't want to put a kid in danger by going back and visiting them all the time.
Fair. What about Ven?
I think that probably not, except for to find out how their education is going.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just
Fair enough.
to make
Yeah.
sure that it's all like, if it turns out that the people that have been made guardians of this kid are like shit teachers, she'd probably have something to say about that.
The fact is, though, that we're probably, like, our characters are probably likely to know or learn, given that the baby's going to be brought up by some of the Mistborn and we work for them.
Yeah, but some of the Mistborn, I don't know about them. Some of them are a bit weird.
Fair. I mean, I think for Liara, I mean, I don't think that I don't think she stops to take in the scenery a lot. I think there's a lot of continuing on, going to the next adventure kind of thing. But if she finds herself, back in Neverwinter and sees, Arrow and the baby or whatever, she'll say hi.
Yeah.
But in terms of Delilah, do we have any like, headcanons or anything? Obviously in our run of the module, she runs away. What's your, feeling in your heart of hearts? What do you think happened to her?
What do I think happened, or what do I want to happen?
Well, you could say both.
Well, because what I want to happen is that eventually, like, she either learns to live as a monster in the forest and is fine, or they figure out how to turn her back. One of those two. Either one is fine. What I assume is going to happen is some other group of upstart adventurers are going to mow it down 5 seconds after we let her go away.
Once everyone's given their opinion, I'll ask Jason to break all of our hearts and tell us what's written in the module, but I won't get there. I won't get there yet.
I reckon. So you go.
I was just gonna say, like, you keep saying what happens to Delilah. I don't think that's Delilah anymore.
Hmm.
I don't think Ven thinks that's like she doesn't think that's Delilah anymore. So I don't think she has strong thoughts or feelings about what happens to the creature that ran away.
I reckon the creature continues to transform, but the body doesn't support the transformation like we saw in the previous module. And the body doesn't support it, and the creature dies. And that way the creature isn't still like out there slashing things to bits.
I think Liara personally, hopes that she, is finding a happy life in the forest. I don't think that she thinks that that's realistically what happened. I think that she probably understands that that's probably not the case. But well, I mean, Jason, what can you say about what you intended with Delilah?
Yeah, so the combat was meant to take place inside the waterfall, in the cave behind the waterfall, which is where Delilah lairs. Unfortunately, she is too far gone, and it's all that's left is a maternal instinct to protect her twins. And as soon as you come in, there is a short time before she just thinks that all of you are threats and will basically fight to defend her children, the twins. So eventually you would have to defeat her, and in the last moment she will run to her twins, and then she will collapse on them.
She squishes the babies.
Protecting them, or
just
okay.
protecting
To-
them.
Oh, okay.
Just as a last act to shield them from you guys. And then when
Pretty
you
touching.
look and when you look around the cave, you will notice that it is a what looks to be a very crude nursery. And even though she's too far gone, it still looks vaguely like a nursery. There's a crib, but there's lots of bones and of like weird creatures or animals that's been eaten, I guess. And you can also see paintings on the cave of accrued paintings as that Delilah is trying to I guess trying to keep her humanity and trying to remember that she is still human.
Oh,
This is
a
real sad.
horror module, not a sad
It
module.
is, yeah, it's very sad and touching as it is. I did actually have a map set up for the cave and everything.
Yeah.
I think some of you
Oh, I
saw it.
saw it. It was great. It had
It
little
was great.
skeletons all
It had
over
little
it.
skeletons
Yeah.
in it. You'll see the skeletons next week. But the yeah, it obviously we had to kind of compress things a little bit for the finale and everything. So yeah, it's yeah, I think it's very a very different emotional kind of note, but Yeah, I think I don't know. Look, I think it's nice that the same module can kind of play out in very different ways. Despite all of that, and the kind of key important stuff of saving the kids and everything
Mm.
is still in there. But yeah, it's I think it's kind of nice that there's this, question mark about, what happened to her. Maybe there's some way to find her and save her in the future. That's our version of this reality of what happened with her.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, Ari, what did you think? But then I'm like, you've read the mod, you
Yeah.
DM'd it.
yeah. I mean, what do you hope happens to her?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna have to go with the Jason thing that I think she's like maybe not yet, but soon will be too far gone. Um, I've run it 3 times, and I think because of time, I didn't really. The module describes Soren as being like quite a calculating and calm guy, and so the other 2 times I played it, the players were obviously in worse shape by the time they got to that first, and so they didn't want to fight the warlock and so they went into the cave and they fought Delilah,
Ah.
and then Soren would kind of stab them in the back, and then you'd have players like trying to convince Delilah, no, Delilah, you're still human, and then she'd sort of turn on the but we obviously were running short of time, and it's sort of like it's 2 back-to-back
I-
combats, and I
I
couldn't
don't
make it
know what
happen.
happened in those other ones, but there's no way that I would have like negotiated that Siren guy.
Okay, so
Not-
this was the other thing. I screwed up a little bit.
Okay.
I should have made it clear. Like there's obviously like this inner circle of like looping coil, or at least how I read the module, of guys that have come here and exploited the townspeople, and kind of but most of them still think that they're worshipping Helm.
Oh, right.
And I because we didn't have time to hang around in the town very long. I think they
Yeah.
got lost. I was briefly thinking about like having them scream out to Helm as Brendan's character's like just mowing them down. But I thought actually now it's just too dark. Like it's too so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's-
yeah, I wrote it with lots of conflicting themes of yeah. And this will probably be the last time I try to write a 2-hour module because I try to cram
It's-
into way too much
tough.
Yeah.
stuff in it.
I think that was a big challenge that a lot of the authors of these series I kind of lucked out because I got to make mine into a 2-part, 4-hour thing. Which wasn't the intention originally, but it kind of eventually, developed that way because we wanted to still have like 8 episodes. And honestly, like it might have been better, I think, to have maybe like less modules but make them all 2-parters or something like that, because like it really is a very limited time frame. 2 hours is a tight thing to try to put a bunch of like exposition and a bunch of and like to actually kind of let it sit and feel like you're especially like an adventure like this, going into this, town, if you were playing, you could take that module and run it over the course of like several sessions of like, you're slowly getting creeped out by being in this town and all this, you can really kind of stretch that content out and let people feel it. But, putting
I
in
would
2 hours or
absolutely
3 hours,
run
it's
and
tough.
or play the 4-hour director's cut Jason, where you
Yeah.
get to do the whole kind of Innsmouth slash Midsummer
Yeah,
version of one,
Yeah.
and gradually getting more and more freaked out. But I had to drop all of that stuff.
Yeah, because Ari asked me about the village, and I told him like think of Wicker Man, the movie.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's that kind of vibe. Everything seems happy at the start, and until you find out what's going on, what's really happening.
Yeah, my kind of mental touch point for it was one of the Lovecraft stories. I think it's Innsmouth. I'm not too sure. It's the one where like everyone is like fish people.
Yeah, in Innsmouth.
Yeah. That was kind of like everyone's kind of like slightly not right. Anyway, we should kind of start to touch back on some more of the questions about the module. And speaking of Dewdrop Hollow, most of us at least drank the cider. What slightly reptilian trait do you think you'll manifest?
Oh,
I'm
I
still
want
glowing.
the eyes. I want the like
The
different,
sideways eyes?
yeah, the different pupil eyes.
My skin's starting to get like all scaly, like I
You
can
need to
feel it
moisturize.
just getting rough.
I will say that I know what's written in the module, but about the thing, but I think that it appropriately made us freaked out
Yeah. Yeah.
about what could happen for sure. I think you touched on that really well, Ari. I think everyone was pretty paranoid about it.
My brain like literally splits in two with body horror because I'm like, this is really cool. This is really interesting. But then I actually like feel it. And I'm like, oh.
I think that in my defense, because obviously I knew, what that nothing would actually happen to Liara, but I think that in character, it was just her, that was what she would do, would be just to, drink it down. One of her like character traits is one of those kind of options from the drop down list in when you're creating character in D&D I think it's one of the ones that comes with a background for like Far Traveler or something, that you're these strange delicacies and intoxications from a foreign land or whatever. I can't resist them. All this kind of stuff. Like, so that was kind of one of the like, well, look, this is something that she's going to want to, try and not have good she does not have good self-control at the best of times.
See, I have the conflicting things of I'd rather make like a new friend than a new enemy, but also I'm suspicious of everyone and don't trust them. So it's fun. But also, like, Cav was like, unless I'd rolled very badly and they had have noticed, Cav was never going to drink that. Like,
that's
they're from
they're from
the Feywild. You don't just no strangers.
Well, I think
food,
yes or no.
not.
There are certain Feywild traditions of like hospitality where you're supposed to accept certain things as well. So it could be a
Don't
little
eat
bit
the
of
food.
one or the other.
I couldn't have asked for a better nat 20.
Right.
I think that Ven was originally not going to, but then everybody was staring at her, and so she was just, I'll drink it just so people stop watching me.
I think Ven only had a sip though, so your
Ven did
eyes
only
are
have a
coming in
little
slower than my
sip.
scaly skin.
Because she didn't like smell anything like off about it. Nobody had collapsed, so she was just like a tiny sip.
If I can pick one like reptilian trait for Liara though, I want those like eyelids, the sideways eyelids that but like as on top of the normal ones, so like the normal ones blink and then the other ones blink.
Like the guy at the start of Men in Black.
Yeah.
So this is an Easter egg for people if you explore the town. If you notice all the names of the characters like Soren and the High Priestess and Looping Coil and a few other people in town, their names all have references or to snake reptiles and scales.
Right.
Holy shit, they do too.
I didn't notice that. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I was wondering if anyone would pick that up.
Nice. It's subtle enough, I think, that it's not immediately obvious.
I purposely pick a very like an obscure reference, so it's not that obvious.
Like, so what is Soren even? What's that reference?
Gosh, I have to Google it again.
It'll be in like another language or whatever.
Well, because his full name is like Soren Pythos or something.
Pythos.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Looping Coil, as in like the snake wrapped around itself. Yeah.
And then also tobacco. So I picked the tabaxi because it's a tail as well. So you wouldn't be.
Yeah. Very well hidden. I like that. A lot of like the only like NPC reference names that I have are just to like movies and pop culture and stuff like that. They're not quite that intelligent. Okay. So one more question for some of the cast. How do Zinna and Van reward Puff and Hootie for a job well done?
Hootie gets so many scritches.
I don't know what a glitter elemental would eat. Like glitter elemental probably really likes yummy cider. I don't know.
Pour it into the.
I don't know if you can give it a scritch.
You come away
not without getting very
you wouldn't
glittery
be
fingers.
able to.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
I'm
say,
gonna have to think about.
I have that glitter elemental on one of my other characters, and I've never thought about it before until right this moment, but I'm like, oh, they'd absolutely love to like go through the hair and like glitter up your entire hair. And, like a reverse scritch, I guess, almost. It's like you can't touch the hair unless you've done a really good job. Okay, now you can, fine.
No,
That's just my
Hootie,
first thought. That's what happens now.
Hootie gets like a bunch of like chinny scratches and like pats on the head. Because I don't think familiars have to eat, right?
I don't think so.
so.
I mean, they're technically fake creatures. And they can kind of just be. I mean, at least if they're like animals in like a pet sense or whatever, it's kind of cruel the way that we treat them by like sending them into these like extra dimensional spaces and summoning them and letting them die
Yeah.
in traps and stuff like that. It's either like one of those things like Pokemon where if you actually examine it, it's actually really
It's
cruel.
horrific.
Yeah.
That's why Puff's always out too, though. Like, I don't just like keep her away until I might need her. She's always there. I have to use the spell slot because I forget that it's a ritual. Like I burn resources to keep her in my life.
Yeah.
Rather than like just go, I've got this thing that I can bring out when I feel like. She's always there. That's her reward, is existing.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
That's
yeah. If I
Yeah.
have a familiar and a character, they're always there.
Yeah. I mean, like you don't always want to, as a DM, have to be like tracking that at all times, but
Yeah.
you kind of just assume like, oh yeah, they're kind of just there somewhere in a convenient way. Well, I mean, speaking of familiars and non-humanoid characters, there is actually a question in this week's questions for the crew, and one person who well, I think that they wish to remain nameless, but they submitted the question as the initials for "if you know, you know." But the question is, how is Evil Rock Guy doing, and does he miss us?
Oh,
Oh,
Aw.
For those who aren't aware, the Evil Rock Guy was a part of the digital set for for season one. Do we have Louis to talk about?
Yes, hello. So Evil Rock Guy, as you know him, is dead.
Oh no.
Canonically,
Evil Rock Guy.
because the file got corrupted on the computer, which is
Oh.
why we're not in virtual anymore.
no.
Oh,
Evil Rock Guy is dead. A version of him exists out there. Tessa is like going nuts. Yeah,
She's
he's
devastated.
dead, but there's a version of him out there, looking over us all, watching over the production. But to answer, yeah, he's dead.
Oh,
That's so sad.
the
So
Rock
does
Guy
the other
watches
version
it.
has a
Okay.
goatee or something?
Sorry.
Does the other version has a goatee?
Yeah, it's got like a fake mustache. But yeah, hard drive, complete failure,
Oh,
and
no.
it got deleted. So
That's
aw.
shattering.
oh,
Oh.
it's terrible.
Well, while we've got you, Lou, obviously, we haven't had the digital sets in the same capacity because of the studios and stuff like that this season. But were there like new evil guys in anything for us to meet that we didn't get to meet?
Unfortunately not. There's no background lore, but we did remove the random space orbs that were there. So this set would have made more sense this time around. But hey, it's those little details that add to the charm of the show, you
That's
know?
it.
I agree. Yeah.
But no. Like so there was a penguin, a dark evil penguin in the background of episode 0 at one point.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
right.
never appeared on camera actually, but it was just like a no texture polygon penguin.
Right.
That we made a lot of menacing videos of them threatening the people in the virtual. So
Amazing.
Incredible.
that was an Easter egg from episode 0.
Oh, awesome. All right. Now, is that gone as well?
Yeah, I think
no.
both sets are completely dead.
Oh,
We
that's-
do have backups of them, so we've got the lovely Doa High set, but
Oh.
as we know them, they are dead.
Oh, that's a shame.
Aw.
But look, we don't think about them being gone. They're in our hearts. They they live on. They live on with us. All right.
Thank you for coming on and being thoroughly depressing, Louis. Thank you.
Yeah,
No worries.
thanks
It's
for
what
that.
I'm here for. What do they keep me around for?
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
My
very
show
much.
will make everyone sad.
Well, let's talk about actually some of the
Tessa
other.
is so sad in the chat.
I know she's very upset about that. I know it's disappointing. So I wanted to actually this was a question actually that Mike submitted at 4:29 a.m. in the morning after the episode, which is a incredibly cogent question for that period of time, which makes it especially impressive. We're now 4 adventures into the Protectors of the Weave storyline. How do you think your characters have reacted if they had experienced the events of the Broken Stronghold or Signs of Corruption, basically the modules that you didn't play? What would you have done differently to the players of those modules? How do you think that that your characters would have fared in those 2 episodes that you weren't on?
I have a
So
very
long
bad
ago.
memory, and I'm trying to remember what happened in them.
I would have absolutely sung and missed in the musical.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad I play tested that one, because I can actually say that like Zina was in it, even if not with the same people. I don't know, like a game is made up of exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So you can't actually ever say, if my character was in it, things would have been different, because that would mean that you as a player like are going to try to take over the game in some way. So I know that if Zina was playing in the one that I DM'd, sorry, Ari, what's your character's name again?
Edgy Von Goth.
Like Zina would have just done what the others did and gone along with that plan to go in and talk to the, to the guards, and then to go into the sewers, and then to find the creatures. Like it just would have happened the same.
No, for sure. I mean, like obviously the broad strokes of the adventures would be kind of similar, but to kind of for people maybe that hadn't seen it, or to to kind of give a bit of context for people, the Broken Stronghold, the adventurers turn up in Silvio's Glen, and there is a magical ritual going on where they're all experiencing nightmares and so forth, and then and some orcs attack while this is all going on. And the adventurers go to the Orc stronghold and find that a mind flayer, Zanzik, has been has taken over the Orc band and needs to be defeated. I think that
sorry, when you say Orc band.
Sorry.
I just want to please clarify,
Orc
because we had
not
Mistborn the Mutable.
Not an Orc rock band.
Okay.
Okay, Mitch, get on that. Get on that now.
That's the sequel to Mistborn the Musical, is the Orc band. I think if Liara was in that episode, I think that I think maybe the only kind of different way that I would have approached it as a character would have been maybe trying to spend more time in the town, trying to talk to people. I think she's inherently a very social kind of character. I think she would be trying to like help people who were having nightmares and things like that, and probably wouldn't have gone well. But apart from that, like I think that they that there was I think the key kind of interesting thing about that was actually I think there's a theme in both of those adventures where they managed to get into the stronghold by pretending to be the orcs, right? Like I think, am I remembering right that they
prisoners or something?
They take the rest of the party prisoner, and
that definitely happened in the episode 2.
Yeah, and there's a similar kind of thing in Signs of Corruption, I believe, where they turn up to the place where the monster, the modified.
That's because that's what like Edgy makes plans to deceive everybody. Like that's because I'm
actually sad that Edgy and
Cav strategy
don't get to play together, because I feel like Edgy and Cav would like deceive the shit out of everyone. It'd be great.
I was just gonna say that if Ari hadn't have been playing those and like Ven had have been, that would never have fucking happened, because Ven has a -1 to charisma.
Yeah, I think Edgy had a pretty big influence in those models.
I apologize.
Never.
No, it was fantastic.
Plans, and they were really fun.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that, because Edgy would have tried the same thing in Monsters, but Soren Bythus has got True Sight.
Oh yeah.
So he sees through it like immediately.
Interesting.
Fun.
Good question.
I think Liara is more a kick down the door type of, like she's good at talking, but I don't think that she is good at like deceiving people. So she's probably more likely just to blurt something out and like just try and talk her way out of it, rather than pretending to be, someone and having such a kind of ruse that Angie got away with.
Good persuasion, poor deception.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Cav has good persuasion and deception, poor intimidation. Well, not poor, just not expertise in it.
I got
Yeah.
-1 in all of them.
Awesome. Okay, well, from Cameron, if your character were to be in the role of campaign villain, what do you think they would be like, and what would their goal be? If your character for this was the villain instead, what kind of villain are they?
I don't know if this is villain, but it could be, depending on your perspective of things, is to destroy the entire court system of the Feywild.
Yeah.
So I guess
I
that's a
don't know if
villain.
that's villain.
I was
I
going to
don't know
say, I
if
don't know if
that's
that's a villain, but it's definitely a villain to someone. But I think that like Cab probably wouldn't care like what happened to make that happen. That's villain.
I think Liara as a villain is like a real kind of like eco-terrorist. I think there's a a lot of
Again,
like
villain.
I know, but like, it's I think a good villain is someone that you kind of understand their motivations and they take it too far.
Yeah.
And I think that her motivation would be to, protect all these wild places and so forth, which is, her motivation as a hero. But I think that she would probably take that to the logical extreme of the thing that's threatening the wild places are these kind of things, and she would maybe do some stuff that would be that people would think is maybe not the right way to go about it. What about the rest of you?
I find this very hard to think about because I don't know that Zina could be a villain, but I think so. Given that, like, her thing is that she's a war strategist and she's studied war while she was learning magic and she studied fighting and stuff. I think if she were a villain, she would be very good at putting like large numbers of creatures on a field or wherever, and like setting up good battles, probably. But like, she just wouldn't, because you know who she is. And Puff would abandon her if that happened, because that'd be terrible. Yeah, no, I'm not very good at thinking villains. That's why I don't also write adventures, because I don't know how to think them up. I don't know how to play evil.
What about Edgy?
Okay, so I was going to point this out. Edgy already is a Fiendlock, and I convinced the party in the first module that we played to take one of the enemies hostage, interrogate him for an hour, and then I stole his life. So I think we're already on the villain journey.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
I think that Ven, like, just from the random backstory that I've developed for Ven, I think that if you took that to the extreme, she could very much have I was going to say dislike, hatred. Let's go with hatred of arcane magic as opposed to divine magic. I think that, if you went really far in that direction, like destruction of arcane magic within the world and only magic from the divine.
Interesting. I think that I don't want to give anything away, obviously, because we still have a few episodes to go, but I did, to some degree, or was at least part of the design of the villain for this storyline, and I think that would very much put you at odds with our villain.
Interesting.
Okay. So finally, before we kind of open it up in the last few minutes to questions from the viewers, Amy asked today, just in the nick of time, would you swipe left or right on Mount Hot or Not?
Immediate right.
I don't know which way is which. Luckily,
yeah, I gotta
I'm
say,
sold. I don't know how Tinder works.
Yeah,
right is good. Right is yes.
Right is good.
Okay. We
Yeah,
I
I've
like,
been
mean-
married since
like
before
mountains.
dating apps were a thing, so I've never used a dating app in my life, and I don't know what that means.
Oh, I
What are-
don't use them.
What
I'm
are
just
the
aware.
chances
Yeah.
that Mount Hoddinot is going to explode again?
Ooh,
I
you
mean,
swipe
from
right, real good.
I think pretty
When,
decent. I mean, once they want to do another reset on the timeline, probably pretty good job.
Because like if swiping right raises my chances of dying, then
Left.
But
Fair.
I mean, it like I don't know a lot about the lore of like Forgotten Realms except for when I specifically want to find out
Mm.
things. But there was something said about how like part of the mountain had collapsed because of the eruption. Is that just based off what was the mountain that blew up in like the 80s or something in America that's
Oh,
now
Mount
like
St. Helens.
missing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
St.
is
Helens.
it just based off Mount St. Helens?
I know it's in the wiki. It says Mount Hotnot used to be Mount Hot now. You know what? It is Hotnot.
It is now.
Yeah.
It is
Swipe
now.
right. Yeah, it used to have 2 peaks, and then because of the explosion, it now has like a jagged crater on one of the peaks, so it looks like a gaping maw.
Right.
Is the sort of canonical
It's
description.
reasonably old D&D lore in terms of the additions, because
Somewhere between 3 and 4, right?
yeah, somewhere between
Oh,
3
yeah,
and
right.
4, because there hasn't been a source book for Neverwinter since 4th edition. So like there's it's kind of been vaguely mentioned. It's really weird because like the first module for 5th edition, like the Lost Mines thing kind of mentions like you're coming from Neverwinter, but there is no like book that you can use to reference Neverwinter without going back to 4th edition, which
Yeah,
is
right.
just insane to
man.
me. But Neverwinter is always actually part of the reason why this is kind of based around the Neverwinter area is because like that was kind of like where I first started to run like a 5th edition campaign. So I'm like, oh well, I'll run something around Neverwinter or whatever. So that's kind of partially actually why this storyline kind of happens around there. But yeah, I think it is kind of old stuff, and they may introduce something in the future that resets all of that or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think it was kind of just to wipe the slate clean for Neverwinter and reset the kind of
I think they just
Like,
want like a cool image of a gaping maw on the mountain.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
just,
does
they just
look
mix up.
cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if you
it
wanna
opens up this
see-
big crack in Neverwinter. That
If you want to see something wild, though, look up the before and after pictures of Mount St. Helens.
Yeah, it's
Because
crazy.
like the mountain like halved in size and half of it's just gone. It's insane. So like that was just what like when that was mentioned, I was just like, oh yeah, like that's what I was picturing. Like I don't know if that's what it was, but yeah, it's insane.
Before we start to wrap up, I want to just open up any questions from the stream or anything. Just put them in the chat, and we'll kind of chat about them in the last few minutes if there's anything that you guys want to ask us. But while we start to lead in the last few minutes, is there anything that you guys want to bring up and talk about? Anything that happened in the episode that you want to touch on? Any favorite moments or anything?
I've got to go.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a
That was
few to
great.
just be in the right spot where she could go.
I
Yeah.
knew that you wanted that. I was like, you know what? I just go big or go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
I liked that that you didn't pull back in retaliating and making a glitter bomb explode.
I really just like the visual of Cav and Liara just like Faye and Misty stepping across the battlefield
Yeah,
like
it's-
constantly, just every 6 seconds. I want to actually see like someone animate that.
Yeah.
I was seconds away from finishing off Soren too. Like, 'cause if
Yeah.
that
Oh,
If-
that
if
He had
prick.
like
I
2
think
hit
her
points.
turn was next. I think her turn was next
God.
too. So she was gonna immediately, like, just for flavor, Misty step behind him, and just take like a big swing and finish him off and just kind of knock him off the thing with Crusher. So yeah, that was
Wait, how bad was he when
He was on 2 hit points,
2
Ari
hit
said.
points,
I
yeah.
could have just upcast the oh my god.
Well, because he has like very few, like I forget what highest level of spell he has is like 3 or 4, and he has very few useful spells. But one of them's like Arcane Portal. You can make a portal like
Yeah, right.
a third of a kilometer away, and I was like, "What use is
We
this?"
just did.
Oh, hang
Yeah.
on.
This is the use.
That's the thing. I like having played 2 sessions now, I am realizing how not built for combat, then
I mean, but you knew that going in. Like,
I
you were
did
well
know
aware
that
of
going
that.
in, but like her main combat stuff is like spiritual weapon and a cantrip.
Hey, it's a
Boom.
classic for a reason.
That's-
And
yeah.
I think only one of my cantrips has hit so far, and that was shocking grasp to get away. Every other time they pass the save.
It's all right. I mean, is the reason that you haven't gone the way of like Spirit Guardians or anything like that?
I pointed that out to her, and she
I
was like,
do
"Man,
have
Guardians is
Spirit
the best.
Guardians, but yeah, like the majority of stuff that I have is stuff like I've got Speak with Dead.
Yeah.
I've got like, because I'm an arcane, like the type of cleric that I am, like Arcana cleric. I've got like Arcanist magic aura, like that sort of stuff. I've got like
Yeah.
Liamon's secret chest.
Oh,
You know,
it's
All
some
very
fun
good
ones.
role play.
Yeah,
but
spells.
not for combat.
fair. I mean, look, that's all right. I think it's interesting the different kind of range of our characters that we have. But we are about out of time, so I think we're gonna start to wrap it up. Thank you everyone for joining us. Join us next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. for episode 5, Book of Wild Magic. Stephen will be returning for the first time this season, DMing the module that he wrote with Hugh. And it's gonna be a fun time. A few of you will be on there. So look out for those guys. Should I spoil the cast? Yell out
Do
if you're. So it's going to be Donna and Ari will be back next week playing their characters, playing Zinna and Edgy. We'll have Joel return with the Lettuce Man and with Romaine.
No, Lettuce Man.
Lettuce Man, yeah, that's it. Exactly, and also Mike.
Oh yeah, so we've got the two wizards next week.
Yeah, that's it. Mike will
Yeah.
be back with
Two
Blake.
wizards, a warlock, and what a barb.
And a mood.
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
think it's a good
No,
a good combination for wild magic.
Monk.
Yeah,
Fighter or
yeah, that's right.
something?
Monk, wrong one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that should be fun. So Tuesday next week, 7 p.m. Join us on same bat channel, and we'll see you all there. Thank you all for joining us. See you later.
Thank you.